A very, very good evening. Thursday, 2nd of February. Sorry, I have had an extremely long day in a series of extremely long days. So you'll have to bear with me. Indeed, Gary, can anyone lip read? Okay. In June 2021, I was arrested following a malicious complaint by the then leader of the council, deputy leader of the council. I've lost track of time. She was one of two complainants. The police came and arrested me without taking statements. That's right. 8 police officers came and hammered at my door in a dawn raid without taking statements. They were led by Detective Sergeant Christopher Dean from Tameside Police Station. Whilst I was in custody, the Oldham Times ran with a headline that I had been arrested as part of a child sex exploitation investigation. 9 months later, the charges brought against me involving Arood Shah spectacularly collapsed in court. She refused to give evidence. I think we all know what would have happened. If she would have given evidence. Remember, what I had done was objected to an anti-Semitic protest at Parliament Square, where children were waving Hamas banners. Instead of arresting those responsible for the attack on the Jewish-owned Elbit factory, Greater Manchester Police Detective Sergeant Christopher Dean decided to become a history expert and claim I was being racist by defending Jewish people who had been attacked with the smashing of windows and the symbolism behind smashing the windows of Jewish-owned buildings, businesses. Apparently, I was the one who was the racist. Anyway, that case collapsed. That case spectacularly collapsed. And no one reported on it. The Oldham Times did not report on it, even though they'd falsified an allegation that I'd been arrested as part of a child sex exploitation investigation. Willoughby! No reporting by Willoughby, McMahon's attack dog. No comment by McMahon, no comment by Debbie Abrahams. None of them. Nothing in the Manchester Evening News. But they were happy to share stories as though I was some sort of criminal. The other case, which I'm restricted in many ways to talk about, but we'll get to the end of that, I think, has been ongoing since. Today was meant to be a case management hearing in a long sequence of case management hearings. In the case management hearing 2 weeks ago, the judge told the CPS that the evidence that my defence team had put together would be considered. And today was meant to be the day when they went through all of that. The courtroom, as usual, was packed with decent, ordinary people from the town who give up their day, come and sit with me. And there was also the Oldham Times and Manchester Evening News there. What had happened yesterday was that my barrister had contacted me, and he'd been called to a trial he was involved in, a Crown Court trial he was involved in Chester. His offices had liaised with the CPS and the courts, and even though I attended today at 9:30, as I was scheduled to do so, what my barrister was trying to do was either dial in at 10:30 and manage it virtually, or wait till 2 o'clock when he could come back from Chester and come to Manchester. The court was fully aware of this. The CPS were fully aware of this. This is, One legal team talks to another. Anyway, at about 12:15, the usher came out. Now remember, the courts stop for lunch at 1 o'clock. Between 1 o'clock and 2 o'clock, they stop for lunch. So the usher comes out at 12:15 to inform me that my barrister's on his way. He's not far away. He was looking for somewhere to park. So there's me thinking, okay, this is going to happen at 2 o'clock. We'll go for some lunch. So I asked about lunch and he said, no, it's up to the judge. At 12:30, just after 12:30, I'm called in, even though my barrister is minutes away and there's only half an hour left before they'd ordinarily stop for lunch. So the judge tells me, and it's fine, Judge Hadfield tells me that my barrister has decided to be in Chester, which is why today hasn't gone to plan the way it should have been. That's not really the case because the barrister had no choice because Crown Courts take precedence over Magistrates Court. And remember, the reason I'm in the Magistrates Court is that the CPS or the police failed to have the charges against me at a sufficient level for it to be in the Crown Court. I'd have preferred it in the Crown Court with a jury. I'd have preferred to be tried in the Crown Court with a jury. So it's my barrister's fault, apparently. Anyway, it's not my place to say anything. It's not even my place to nod. So I stood there in the dark. And the judge then shared with me, to which there were gasps from the public gallery. And the judge turned his attention on the public gallery and told them to be quiet. Just fair enough, it's his courtroom. My role there is to stand, behave with respect, and do as I'm told, I think, in that place, in that time. So I said nothing. What the judge had decided was that the next case management meeting, the earliest time the courts had in their diary. Now remember, this isn't the trial, this is a case management hearing. And the case management hearings up to this point had been regular. Once every 2 weeks or something like that. The CPS first said they hadn't received the stuff, then they tried to stop. So this is the third case management hearing in quick succession. The first one, the CPS said they hadn't received the paperwork. The second one, they tried to prevent the paperwork from being accepted by the court, and today was to review the paperwork, as in my defence bundle. And what happened was, the date came back, and I might be wrong here on the exact date, but I think it was the 7th or the 9th of August. 6 months' time. And I was released on bail for another 6 months. And if it goes ahead in August, it would take us to over 2 years since I was originally arrested. Now remember, in that time, one case has spectacularly collapsed. Now I'll share with you what I think is taking place. And again, these are just my views and opinions, my thoughts, my experiences, my instincts, what I think. Good evening, Warren. Thank you for being there. Warren Bates is watching. Nice. Up to 3 weeks ago, the first hearing after Christmas, 4th of January or 5th of January, whatever it was, the CPS said they hadn't received the bundle. My defence. At the second hearing, the last hearing before this one, the CPS tried to block my defence bundle from being admitted. That's right, the CPS tried to block it. The judge was having none of it. The judge has now seen it. The CPS have had time to see it. I don't think for 1 minute this will play out until August. I think the CPS, over the coming weeks and months, will be desperately trying to do some sort of deal with my legal team. I think I've been very clear from the beginning. I am not a criminal. Despite the best efforts of some of the most powerful people in this country, they have failed to criminalise me. And I have been consistent in my position. Children in our town were groomed and gang raped, and the politicians and the policy officers and the police covered it up. The council is corrupt, and criminals have too much influence when they should have none. Political influence in this town when they should have none. And I have evidenced this for the last 4 years, at least. The CPS have now seen the defence bundle. The judge has now seen the defence bundle. I would be very, very surprised if this goes to trial. Remember, we've not got a trial date, by the way. August is for the next case management hearing, 6 months' time. So Neil Willoughby! James Ignatius O'Rourke McMahon, Debbie Abrams, what are you going to do next? What are you going to do next? Dr. Chauhan, I've not even got warmed up yet. Wait until I come for you as well. What are you people going to do next? I think by now it's very, very clear to the people of my town and beyond. I will not be intimidated. I will not be silenced. I will not be bullied. And it doesn't matter how powerful any of you are or what sort of leverage you can bring over the police or the mobsters. You're not going to win this because we're going to win this. This is our town and we are taking it back. And James Ignatius O'Rourke McMahon, you and your attack dogs, watch what we do to you. Just watch what we do to you. There is a reckoning coming in this town, and that reckoning will be at the ballot box, and we will take out one Labour Party politician after another until we go for both MPs. The bloc Muslim vote won't protect you. The middle class fake liberal elite who gain from the poverty of my people. Charlotte Green, those two idiots who turned up from the newspapers, the Oldham Times and the Manchester Evening News. You're not going to win. You're not going to win this. Because this is our home, not yours. These are our children. These are our communities. And that civic centre where Dirty Harry Caffrell, the Borough Solicitor Paul Bentwhistle, Elizabeth Drogan, the Director of Constitutional Services, you all know who you are. You all know what you're trying to do. This tyranny of yours, its days are numbered. This trial isn't going to go ahead, in my opinion. This isn't going to see its way through to August. And to the CPS, to the police, because I'm coming for you, Greater Manchester Police. Be in no doubt, I am coming for you. Detective Sergeant Christopher Dean, Detective Inspector Kenny Blaine, even the police constable, Callum, whatever he was called. I'm coming for you. You have been complicit in criminality. You have attempted to prosecute me and persecute me for politically motivated reasons. And you have failed and failed and failed again. And to the CPS, I have a message for you. I will not accept any deals. I will not be criminalised in any way whatsoever. I'm more than happy to see you humiliated in the courtroom. There's no reason why, by the way, they could not have took the lunch break and thrashed this out at 2 p.m, in my opinion, with my barrister there and going through every item of evidence that we wanted to submit. There's no reason why that couldn't have happened at 2 o'clock, half an hour later in the magistrate's court. This was a get out, in my opinion, for the CPS. The judge giving them an opportunity not to be humiliated in public. I'll go to trial and we'll see what happens. So to the CPS, you have one choice here. Leave with dignity, or be humiliated in the courtroom. I am not a criminal. I will not be treated as a criminal. And before it gets too bad for you, do the right thing. You've now in possession of the evidence. How much has been spent on attempting to prosecute me? How much has been spent on Operation Hexagon? How much has been spent on the strategic meetings at the Civic Centre? 4 years, 5 years now? I'd say you passed £500,000 of your money. That's the update. And no, David, they've not told me my charges yet. There is no charge sheet in the prosecution bundle. There is no charge sheet in the prosecution bundle. The judge himself picked up on that. And there were people there. There were people there last time and the time before. And there were people there today. They will tell you, I'm not lying here. I'm not exaggerating. I'm not manipulating the truth. This is what happened. This is what happened. I believe in our democratic system. I think it's very clear by now. And I am a supporter of the rule of law. I think that's also very clear by now. Because what I speak out against is injustices where the legal system, the law has failed to behave in the way it should because the victims do not have a voice. Or it's politically convenient to ignore their voices. This will play out. And to my friends in the Labour Party, watch what I do next.
Do not fear them. Do not fear any of them.